People who listen to the show on a regular basis know that there are a number of male vocalists that I've said I would seriously listen to sing the phone book. That I love their voices enough where they could, could sing the ABCs. They could do whatever they wanted to do. And I would, Wanye Morris of Boyz II Men is one of them, shout out Philly. But Jasmine Sullivan is another one of those people. And Kayla J back at the studio will laugh when I say this. We talk about this very frequently, the idea of flat-footed singing. And these are the people that could step to a microphone barefoot, no electronic enhancement, and just open their mouths, and it's like angels sing. And Jasmine Sullivan, to me, is one of those people, an incredible gift. And it's so good to know that she has gone through her own sort of accepting transformation, this idea about what the music industry tries to kind of crunch you into, and some people go along with it because they think there's going to be some pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Other people are standing up and protesting against that and saying, I got to be me. I've got to do this the best way I know how. And we're glad to know that she's spreading that kind of awareness and standing firm in her gifts in that respect. And so that brings us into this week's edition of Reelblack Radio. I'm Stephanie Renee, sitting here with Mike Dennis of Reelblack Presents, and joining us now at the broadcast table, Lexi White of New Voices for Reproductive Justice. How are you both?
I'm doing great. Hey.
Doing wonderful.
And hello to those of you who are checking us out on Facebook Live. Now, you got the ambient sound in the room because we are not plugged into the board. So, just know that you'll get some of the little chatter that happens off mic during this hour. But we are here in one of the larger gathering spaces where there will not be formal activity until around 1 o'clock when we're signing off. But we are glad to be able to be set up here and get a wonderful kind of round robin of the people who are essential to making today's event possible. And Lexi, last time we spoke to you, you were in studio with us, and we were kind of setting the stage for inviting people out to this gathering and making sure that you had, great attendance and awareness in our Word Radio community. How have the last 48 hours or so been since I saw you at the opening reception in getting everything up and running and seeing the folks that are coming out to support?
It's been a blast, I have to say. It's been a whole lot of fun. I'm feeling so centered and grounded amidst all of this Black girl magic.
Yes.
And all of this empowerment that's been going on over the past few days. Yesterday, we officially kicked things off with our Black Hair Institute, which was held over at the Center for Architecture and Design. Mm-hmm. And we had a great turnout. We had a number of women of color-owned small businesses who are locally based, and some who came from across the state as well, who were sharing their products and resources, all of which elevated this idea of health and well-being, and also utilizing products that are both good for our bodies and good for the environment. It was definitely a healing space. There was awesome information shared. And then we segued into our arts and culture night, mm-hmm. which was a turn up for reproductive justice for sure.
Yes.
We had some local performers grace us with their artistry. We had Philly Youth Poetry Movement in the house. Woo-hoo. So it was wonderful to hear from the young folks. They actually really got the party going, which was wonderful. And our key performance of the night was Sonia Renee Taylor, who was amazing.
Yes.
My Body Is Not an Apology is her book that's coming out at the top of the new year.
Nice.
And so we're looking forward to that. And it was a great time to bond and for folks to really get their joy on at a time that, the work is really, really hard. So it was great.
Yes. I was going to say, I do believe on your Instagram page, I saw a boomerang of a lot of shimmying going on. That was in response to what a great time you all had.
Yes, there was definitely some shimmying. There was some line dancing.
Yes.
There was all the good stuff.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Mike, in the context of being in the spirit of self-love, we talk very often about the work that Reelblack does to continually to show us images of ourselves in various stages of the development of the film industry, of television, but also to engage in conversations around the real life struggles that people have had to tell our stories on the large and small screen. And you capture so much of that background information as well with your camera. And I wonder, through your filmmaker eyes, what this kind of moment in history feels like for you, being able to chronicle these things that are kind of going on in our world.
Well, I think that's an excellent question. I think we're clearly in flux. Things are changing, but we also are seeing, like you say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And so I think what we've been doing in the last year or so, and shout out to Baba Dick Gregory. He's in the hospital right now, so get well soon. Baba Dick. But, since we started building the channel and speaking more in terms of issues of Black consciousness as well as representation, the comments that we're getting lead me to a few conclusions. One, a lot of people don't have access to elders, or wisdom. They don't, like, our historical context is getting narrower and narrower. Like, people don't remember what happened 5 years ago.
Yep.
That's why we're always getting these posts, rest in peace, Hervé Villachez. No, the brother's been dead for a long time.
Right.
But the people, they don't, our attention spans and things are shorter. We don't necessarily have as much of a connection to the past as we may have in the past. So I'm noticing that the people are gravitating back to information and reconnecting, so I think this LOX conference is fantastic because it definitely helps center us there's an energy here already, just walking in the room. That's incredible, and knowing who you are is the most important thing. So as far as the history, we're coming off a lot of great stuff. I mean, so politically, maybe we're distracted into thinking the worst, but creatively, there's not a better time to be creating art.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing some really great movies happening, more representation, more chances for people to see ourselves. But I'm also seeing an erosion of the foundations. Like people, like Haile Gerima says, like, don't think you're reinventing the wheel. Don't think you're Christopher Columbus when it comes to Black art. There's a whole foundation that you can, if you're aware of it, you can build from. So but a lot of the younger artists, or even people that are just frustrated with the existing system, don't realize that a lot of work's been done already to establish their systems in place.
Yes.
So I'm always running into people that are filmmakers. They want to make film, but they've never heard of Scribe Video Center. Or they don't support Art Sanctuary, or they don't listen regularly to WRD, and information is power. And I know what else are you working on this weekend? I want to be fed.
Well, I was going to say, Lexi, one of the things that I have found, even in the folks that we've spoken to just this morning since we started broadcasting at 10, is that reproductive justice and environmental justice, these are concepts that we hear about, and people tend to think of them solely in terms of policy. And what I have really appreciated is that the presenters that are here as a part of the conference are helping us to redefine and expand our awareness of what these terms mean and how they're applied, especially to communities of color, that I think is incredibly refreshing and necessary.
Absolutely. Actually, our plenary this afternoon is really all about that, where we'll be focusing on some of those intersections between environmental justice and reproductive justice, beyond, a sort of legislative analysis, but more so in terms of culture change and building sustainable communities and resources to combat environmental racism, essentially. Both environmental justice and reproductive justice are concerned with health and well-being of all people, and I think uniquely from like mainstream repro rights movements and other mainstream environmental justice work, in a lot of those spaces you don't see as many Black and brown voices being centered. I think what we're trying to do today is centering the folks who are doing that work within our communities, who have been doing that work, and who understand that both environmental oppression and reproductive oppression impact, the socioeconomic conditions of folks who are, particularly who are living in poverty.
Yes.
And what we want to do is create opportunities for our communities to advocate on their own behalf, whether it be about the environment that they're living in, about their bodies, and the way that their environment is impacting their bodies.
Yes.
But essentially, this is a key intersection that we need to be able to uplift and talk about. And there's a lot of wonderful local folks who are doing this work and who have been doing this work for a while. I'm really excited to speak this afternoon with Janine from Urban Creators,
yes,
who we love so much,
yes,
and who's been doing a lot of great work around urban farming here in Philly for a while. Who recently produced the Hoodstock Community Arts Festival, which I know WURD was at, and we had a few volunteers there. And Janine has done a lot of work with youth as well, and so that's a key thing that we want to highlight, is that in order for our work to be sustainable, we've got to both center and listen to the young folks and their read on some of these issues and where they see opportunities for change.
And I first met Janine as a member of PYPM. So this whole idea of the full circle nature of what folks are doing, our young people have a tendency to find their voice and find their passions through the outlet of the slam poetry community, but how they assert themselves into the world may not be centrally focused on the poetry as they move forward. It's a tool that they have used in order to find their voices in other ways. And so, that's how I think about the information that you present at the conference as well. Everybody is not going to be the full, frontline activist in these issues, but that doesn't mean they can't be a part of the movements that are represented by the information that's being shared.
Right. And I think the way that we show up in our movement work changes over time and it evolves. And it's important that we can show up as our full selves and bring all of our talents to the table so that we don't get siloed in our work, and so that we can really express, all of the great things that make us who we are.
But allow me to understand. So we had Dawn Porter on, who did the movie Trapped, which was talking about abortion clinics in
and
Texas.
That's where I first met Lexi.
Okay. I mean, what within the Northeast, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, what is the situation? How are women's reproductive rights at risk at the stage now that we are in this administration? Or?
Absolutely. They're very much at risk. We're seeing a number of attacks regularly, not only in the Pennsylvania state legislature, but at the federal level. There's actually a piece of legislation that we're advocating around right now called the Women's Health Protection Act. That's a federal bill that would actually make it illegal for trapped laws to happen, for there to be these targeted regulatory attacks against reproductive health services and clinics that are providing these key services. And we have to keep fighting. But I will also say that in addition to responding to these attacks that we're seeing, we have to continue to be proactive and to think about the longer term game. So we don't want to get so bogged down in the reactivity. Yes, we have to protect and defend our most fundamental human rights, but we also have to be able to see the longer game, knowing that, we're going to keep voting, we're going to keep mobilizing our leaders, and when we get the right folks in, we're going to push on some really proactive policy work.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, that is what we want people to understand is that if they are unable, we want people to come to the conference. We want them to slip in for a workshop or for a plenary session, whatever they are most able to do. But if they can't do that, then one of the reasons why Word is so excited about being able to be a media partner and engage these conversations on air is that we can continue to point people towards the organizations that are already formed here in our community that are doing the work. And if they're curious about learning more about how to get engaged, there are plenty of points of entry within the lineup that you all have put together for the conferences and presenters and what have you in order to engage our community more thoroughly in these issues. And so we certainly thank you for being able to stop by the table with everything else going on to be able to lay out some of the issues that are present for us to be pondering as a community and to point us in the direction of the folks that are here on the ground centering and doing the work that's necessary for communities of color.
Absolutely. Thank you. I just want to one quick plug while we're talking, briefly about some of the policy items. We do have copies for all of our attendees here of the In Our Own Voice National Policy Report.
Nice.
So these are our national partners with the National Black Women's Reproductive Justice Agenda. The copy of the report is called Our Bodies, Our Lives, Our Voices. And it's a really thorough overview of all of the policy issues that we're taking on at this time. And I think is a great resource tool for folks. And we have copies for everyone. So you can stop by.
And your website, or if people can't make it down, where can they find out more about what you're doing?
They can check us out on social media at New Voices Philly. They can also call us directly. I can give that number now. So 267-365-7120. I
was going to say, do that again a little slower, because people were like, oh, wait, a phone number. And they were running to go get a pen and paper. And, I have a tendency to talk very slowly when we're giving out information they need to write down.
All right,
so
good
they can
folks,
get it.
Get those pens ready.
Got my pen.
267-365-7120. Give us a call. And you can also follow our hashtags throughout the conference on social media. Hashtag #LoveSoGrow. Hashtag KLT, as in Kinks, Locks, and Twists 2017.
Okay, and at New Voices Philly.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to follow you right now.
Indeed. Please do that. And we appreciate you, Lexi. We're going to make this an ongoing thing. We're going to just keep a chair warm for you at the Word Studio so that we can continue to engage and let people know about the great work that New Voices is doing right here in Philadelphia. For those of you who are looking for a real entree into how you improve your understanding of reproductive justice and environmental justice and how it impacts communities of color. Thank you so much for stopping by our broadcast table.
Thank you so much.
This is Stephanie Renee. You are listening to our Mojo on the Go here at the 2017 Kinks, Locks, and Twists Conference at the Friends Center, 1501 Cherry Street. If you're able to slip away and come and absorb some of this in person, you are highly encouraged to do so. And this is our Reelblack Radio Hour, so we'll be back with more with Mike Dennis after this.
What about the way you love me? What about the way you love me? Ooh, and what about the way you squeeze me? What about the way you squeeze me? Oh, it's simply beautiful.
You all know how I feel about collaborations. You all also know how I feel about classics when they are tastefully redone. And if you remember last week when Troy and I were set up at the Walnut Street West Library for our Summer of Freedom broadcast, Troy said, oh, I know you want this one, and brought me a CD that they were selling at that library location, which is Queen Latifah's first all-sung album. It's called the Dana Owens album, her real name, giving you that authentic self. And so I bought it for 50 cents. Shout out to the Free Library for being such a resource for all kinds of goodness. And that is a remake of the Al Green song Simply Beautiful with Reverend Al Green, that is.
When you get singing along to it.
Singing along with Dana Owens, otherwise known as Queen Latifah. That has all of the components of everything that I love. A classic slow jam, a collaboration between generations of highly respected folks in the industry. And, one of those songs, the concept of being able to be your full self and express it through the creativity. Great, great stuff. So if you didn't know, if you haven't seen Queen Latifah on Chicago, these other films where, as she has been gradually adding to the repertoire over the years, singing is something that she has embraced fully. It's what made her eventually separate from Tommy Boy Records and go to Motown, because Tommy Boy wanted her to just rhyme and let that be it. And she had a bigger vision for her career. And so the Dana Owens album is
worth every penny that you paid.
You know what?
That was some karaoke stuff. Were they in the same room together? Al Green and Dana Owens there?
Mike is a hater.
I am a hater. I'd rather listen to the original on that one. I mean, I didn't say that Dana Owens is not talented, that Dana Owens can't sing, but she was outclassed there. I'm sorry.
I mean, I I will always appreciate the Al Green version most.
Okay.
Because it was first and because it's him. But I have, just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, on my iPod currently, I have 5 versions of that same song. I have the Al Green version.
Yeah.
I have Jose James. I have Leela James. I have Queen Latifah and Van Hunt.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and Eric B. Rakim, they did an awesome sample of it too. So.
Yeah, but that's different.
Okay, all right.
I'm talking about people actually singing the songs. So you know that I can be highly critical when it comes to people remaking classics. I just appreciate when people do it tastefully. And Dana stayed in her lane. She's not Jasmine Sullivan. She is not a flat-footed singer, but she can hold her own. She does more than just carry it. And this is coming from the dude with zero rhythm.
I look. If you're gonna put a record out like that, just stay in your shower.
If you can attempt to do exotic dancing or step on camera, then Dana can sing. Don't hate.
Look, I wasn't charging $19.99 for my singing. You can watch that for free. 50 cents is about what that was worth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dana. You know, I hope Al got some money off of that one.
Of course he did. He was singing on the song.
They weren't even in the same room. You could tell.
But he gave her permission to do it. It's not like she was.
You want good Reverend Al collaboration, rhythm and country and blues. Some amazing Al Green duets on that album.
Okay.
And I'm sure the rest of the album is good, but anyway.
Anyway.
Congratulations, Queen Latifah. Your movie, Girls Trip, is at $99 million today. Tonight, it's going to cross that $100 million mark.
Yes.
So stick to that. I'm sorry.
He is so. Let's see. When I'm critical, I'm speaking now directly to the camera again. When I'm critical, I try and put it in a framework. That right there is pure hateration. Look, I want y'all to get with him. Get with him. That's not nice.
Of the 287 people that bought the record on Amazon, they all gave it a 5-star review. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yes, you're wrong.
Troy liked it too. All right. Okay. Well,
and while Mike is getting his next film factoid together, can I just say I wanted to formally say hello to our friends at Girl Trek who are also here at the Kinks, Locks, and Twists conference. You know that we have talked to them about their movement honoring Harriet Tubman. This whole idea about how taking good care of our health is sometimes just as simple as getting up and walking, ladies and gentlemen, and doing so in a group so that we can share stories while we are moving our bodies and taking better care of ourselves and combating those diseases that are so much more prevalent within our own community. So there is a very well-rounded, holistic approach here at the Kinks, Locks, and Twists conference to how we are taking better care of ourselves. And so, again, if you can pass through, stop by the Girl Trek table, learn more about what they're doing, find a walking group that is happening near you, and find a partner so that you can be safe and also be healthy.
And shout out to our friends at Step the Movie. In its second week, it grossed $266,000 on 185 screens.
I was going to say on very limited screens.
So it's right at that $500,000 mark.
Excellent.
Already. So and it was number 24 for the week. And also shout out Byron Allen. He's doing distribution now. Mm-hmm. Their first release under Entertainment Studios, 47 Meters Down, is the sleeper hit of the summer. It is at $43 million.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very it doesn't have the budget here, but yeah, that's a sleeper.
That's the one with them in the shark cage, right?
Shark cage, yeah. So that's like he originally wanted to put out Birth of a Nation. He put the highest bid in for that, and it didn't happen for him. So this is the first one of their Entertainment Studios release, and then shout out to our friends. What else came out? It was Step and Who Streets.
Yes.
Who Streets also grossing about $1,500 per screen in its limited release. And opening this week is Patty Cakes, which was a Sundance movie about a young, overweight white New Jersey rapper with dreams, coming from the underclass, and she puts together with the help of a motley crew, which includes her grandmother and a young East Indian guy that works at a pharmacy, and a black goth rocker. They start their own hip hop group in hopes of getting on Emerald City Records. So it's like a little Wizard of Oz thing. And there's some hip hop, and it was a fan favorite at Sundance, and it's out today. So those are the things to check out.
I was gonna say, for people that are looking for a bit of a diversion from all of this foolishness that's going on in the world around us, that sounds like something that'll give you a few laughs and build up some dreams.
Yeah. And on Netflix, everybody's staying home today because the Defenders dropped. Marvel the Defenders. I don't. Troy, do you know? It's like 4 or 5 Defenders. I don't watch this stuff. So 4 of them. 4 Defenders. Luke Cage is one of them.
Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist.
Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist.
I was gonna say this is not my bag, my book, my genre, my thing.
Well,
but I can respect the fact that it's gonna be binge watch. Fodder for a lot of the people out there that are into the whole Marvel universe.
Well, the main people are liking the show. I was reading the reviews. People are liking the show, but their main complaint is only 8 episodes, and they're disappointed they can't just stay home all weekend. They actually have to find things to do with the rest of the time.
What people need to be very clear about is that there are mostly the network series that are still sticking to the 16 to 23 episode season. Yeah. Most other ways that we watch these days are doing 8, 10, maybe 12 episodes. That's all you get.
Yeah.
So, those of you who are just clamoring for more, just watch it twice.
Oh, yeah. I meant to mention Hitman's Bodyguard also opened this week with Sam Jackson and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Am I ready for another black-white buddy flick like this?
Well, Sam Jackson, if you like him, I didn't go to the advance. It's getting mixed reviews. I like Sam Jackson. But Defenders is out. Now, one movie I will not watch, I can't put myself through the pain of it, is Naked with Marlon Wayans from the same team that brought you all those, all the bad, was it 50 Shades of Black and all the ghost movies. No, I can't do it. I love Marlon Wayans. I think he's very entertaining, but I think I don't necessarily. It's basically a ripoff on Groundhog Day, where he has to relive the same day over and over, the day of his wedding or something like that. It's like showing his fear, but somehow it starts off. He wakes up butt naked in an elevator, and he has to replay that whole day over and over again. So I don't know if I want to sit through 90 minutes of Marlon Wayans butt naked. Over and over again.
I will say that my girl Butter from Soul Bounce was at a screening event that he did in D.C. For his new series, Marlon.
Yes.
And that has gotten some good reviews. People say it's funny, it's engaging. So I'm curious to see.
Well, it's going to be on NBC. I think in some ways it's replacing the Carmichael show. The Carmichael didn't get picked up, and Marlon got picked up.
Yeah.
I know he's worked hard. He's one of the voices of Netflix. Those videos that were being shared. Yes. I don't question his hustle. I think he's very entertaining. I'm not sure if NBC is the right place for him, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, Richard Pryor found out NBC wasn't the place for him.
If given all the freedom in the world, he chooses to be butt naked in an elevator. I don't know how much he's going to get being somebody's family, and the only way is like my wife and kids actually worked because of Damon, but the family sitcom template, you have to reinvent that somehow. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Also, they just added on Netflix, it's a couple years old, it's called Nat King Cole, Afraid of the Dark, and it's a documentary about Nat King Cole.
Oh, okay. And now that I will be interested in seeing, and rest in peace to his grandson.
Oh yeah.
We talk so often, and we'll do this and go into the break. But we talk so often about family history with certain conditions and diseases, and regrettably, the Cole family has a long history of heart disease. It's what took Nat
Oh, lung
King
cancer.
Cole. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that. But he also, I mean, that's what ultimately killed him. But he also had the underlying issue with the heart disease. It's what killed Natalie. It's what killed Natalie's former husband, and now it's killed her son. Her husband died from a heart attack at 34. Natalie, thankfully, even with the drug abuse and other things that she put her body through, she didn't pass away until she was in her 50s. Her son was 39. Heart disease, heart attack. Ladies and gentlemen, this is serious stuff. So you got to know your family history. You also got to get checked out and do what we can to really, deal with what our bodies are telling us we are going through, and take good care of ourselves. It is one of the underlying themes of this 2017 Kinks, Locks, and Twists conference, and we'll come back and fold that into more of our conversation. You're listening to Reelblack Radio. This is Mike Dennis. I'm Stephanie Renee. You're checking us out on Facebook Live and over the airwaves at Word Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming at wordradio.com. We'll be back to conclude this week's edition of the program after this.
We've been traveling for so many on the way, but the riches will be plenty, worth the price we had to pay. There's dream in the future. There's a struggle that we have yet to win, and there's pride in my heart, 'cause I know where I'm going, yeah, and I know where I've been.
We had to give you some parallel structure there, ladies and gentlemen, because after Mike spent so much time disparaging Queen Latifah,
You redeemed yourself.
one of the other songs that she sang as a part of Hairspray the film is the song that we just shared with you, but the version we just gave you is courtesy of Hairspray Live, the NBC television live action event. And Jennifer Hudson, of course,
As Maybelle.
is yet another one of those artists that can just stand flat-footed, barefooted, however she wants to, and just blow and make anything sound like it is manna from heaven. And so that is her rendition of the big production number as a part of the show Hairspray, I Know Where I've Been. And it ties back into the conversation we have about how we are documenting our walk on this earth, how we are celebrating ourselves and trying to build more of a community of self-love and appreciation, and giving people good information as is being disseminated throughout this 3-day event, the Kinks, Locks, and Twists Conference 2017. And we are here live on the set with this week's, the conclusion of this week's Reelblack Radio here at the Friends Center at 1501 Cherry Street.
Yeah, I mean, last week when you told me we were going to be down here, I didn't know if I was going to fit in because I don't have any hair left. But I did back in the day. People that know me, I did have twists. Mm-hmm. I tried to lock, and it was kinky at one point. I tried. And
Make me choke.
I did the worst hair experience I had. When I started losing my hair, people were like, you should braid your hair, and that way it'll stay in longer, like it'll grow longer and it'll get strength, and it won't fall out as fast. So I went to the sister up and above off of Wayne Avenue. She was doing
this
some
story
hair.
is not going to end well, ladies.
She was doing some hair in our apartment, and then I went about a month. She's braiding hair, but then I had to get packs, so I might go. My hair wasn't long enough, so she wanted to weave and all this other.
I
this
really
fake
didn't
hair.
know we were going to take that kind of turn, ladies and gentlemen.
But now I know what this means. This is what I understood.
Yes, that it itches.
It hurt. She braided so tight.
No. Patting is how you basically you deal with the itching of your hair if you're about to get it relaxed, because you don't want to dig your fingernails in your scalp because then it'll burn when the chemicals are put on it. Patting is to deal with the itch.
No, she had some against me. She made them braids so tight.
Stephanie Mousen, I'm looking at you now because, this is your boy. So you got to make sure that he's up on these cultural issues.
That it itches? No, I was...
He's not allowed to be on the microphone and be wrong like this. We got to help him out. We up in his black quotient.
I'm at the convention. I'm here to be enriched, but I felt out of place.
So what you really? I don't know who this woman was that was braiding your little pieces of hair.
She had it in for me.
You needed to go to the West Africans. Now now I'm going back to the camera because I know there are people on there who know what I'm talking about. West Africans will find your baby hair and make its way into a braid. There is a whole lot to be. They snatch up every little piece of little tiny.
Put zigzags in it and stuff.
Honey.
Okay.
That's how you know it comes from the root. It comes from the motherland.
It's still in there. Oh, well, yeah. Oh, well, that was the other one. We went to Africa when I was in college. Like, for Air Afrique. Flying right into Senegal. Right? So we were like one of the few Americans, and I guess it's like a 6-hour flight. About 4 hours in, you just realize the French don't respect deodorant because it was the funkiest flight I've ever been on, and as soon
y'all come get your boy, because what am I going to do with him at this point? As soon as these sisters
got off, the humidity in Senegal just poof. Everybody.
God knows.
Rushing, looking for hats.
I think we're getting ready to do something positive, and then Mike keeps going, and then I have to shake my head.
Well, shout out. Speaking of hair, Octavia Spencer is going to be playing Madam C.J. Walker.
That was the longest, wrongest segue. I just need y'all to know what am I supposed
Produced
to do?
By LeBron James. It's gonna be a limited series. They're hoping that it'll be on Netflix, so we get to know the truth because it's based on a book written by Madam C.J.'s granddaughter.
How did he think he was going to redeem himself from that awful story he told?
What, Africans not using deodorant? What? We know that. It's not a myth. They were colonized by the French. The French don't believe in deodorant. It's nothing against anybody. It's truth. It's truth. When have I ever lied?
I got nothing, y'all. I got nothing.
All right, moving on then. Big shout outs. Also, Zoe Kravitz is in a movie called Gemini. She plays a actress and she befriends her assistant. And one day, the assistant walks in, and Zoe's dead, and now the assistant is in the midst of a murder mystery. That trailer just dropped. Also dropping today, first trailer for Boo 2, a Madea Halloween. You know you want to get your Tyler Perry on. You can't go another year without Tyler Perry. He kept the block starving. He's got Boo 2 coming.
Boo 2.
Boo 2, Madea Halloween. Well, look, they can't all be as good as the Dana Owens.
You know he's just ignorant. You have to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, how Mike and I have been able to sustain a friendship for like 20 years.
Michael B. Jordan,
knowing that he is the way he is.
Michael B. Jordan is going to star in the American remake of the Korean monster thriller, A Bittersweet Life.
A Korean mobster thriller.
It's considered a classic in Korea, and he's got several projects, but this is the one that's been announced most recently. And
can we also talk about the production deal with him and Barry Jenkins?
Oh yes,
and OWN.
Yes, yeah.
I'm trying to get us back to the positive, end on a good note, y'all. So I'm tossing Mike.
Keep trying. Keep trying. Good luck with that.
So I told you all earlier in the program. Wait, I'm gonna give you a lead in. I told you all earlier in the program about the wonderful Vogue article about Oprah being 63 and fully embracing her journey and herself. And so I want you to read that. But part of this journey for her has been acknowledging what was miraculous about OWN and what was real about trying to maintain your own network, and some of the concessions she's made, but how she's now put herself in a space to finally do some really positive development deals with all this young talent. She's trying to hand down her knowledge and give access to the young, talented folks in the Black community in particular. And so the work that she's done with Ava DuVernay, both with Queen Sugar and in feature films, is coming to fruition. And she's now offered a development deal to
Michael B. Jordan is executive producing a coming of age drama for the OWN network with Moonlight writer Terrell Alvin McCraney.
Yes.
So it's one of the other projects. And then in addition to Black Panther, he's also doing Creed 2. And he's got a movie called Wrong Answer, directed by Ryan Coogler, once again, and written by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yes.
So he's got his logo.
I had to toss that one to Mike, because I'm like, I can't believe you're not coming on and talking about your brothers doing these big things, and Mother Oprah is helping to make some of that happen. So that's a great
to balance it out. Will Packer and Malcolm D. Lee, they have announced their next project. It's called Night School, and it stars Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish, who is a breakout star from Girls Trip.
Yes.
Is the co-star. She also is going to be on a show called the OG with Tracy Morgan. So she's on the rise. So
yes.
And rest in peace. This was very sad for me to read. Joy S.J. Harris, who was one of the very first Black female bike racer.
Yes.
She was a stunt woman on Deadpool 2. She lost her life in
a really bad motorcycle accident.
Stunt gone wrong. Drove through a glass window. So that kind of shook up the world. The first time, she'd never done stunts before, but apparently she successfully did the stunt 4 times. The 5th time there was a mistake, and
so on movie sets everybody was talking about Tom Cruise breaking his ankle, but we want to acknowledge the sister who lost her life. One of the first Black female motorcycle racer, and unfortunately trying to do this stunt for Deadpool 2. Ended up losing her life trying to attempt this.
It's a real business. I mean, and it brings me back to, there was a similar thing on Vampire in Brooklyn. A young Black stunt woman lost her life.
In Brooklyn.
Eddie Murphy movie.
Very bad Eddie Murphy movie. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's not. It's I don't want to talk about how bad the movie was. It's a shame she lost her life on a movie that won't be remembered. But when the news came out, basically they pressured her into doing the stunt and she was new, and it was just very tragic. So I think anybody who gets into that business needs to be extremely cautious. Don't take anything for granted when you're doing these things, and realize that it is life and death. So
absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway.
Well, we appreciate that news, and we want to make sure that we acknowledge those people who have distinguished themselves. And in this quest for fame and fortune, sometimes there are a lot of risks out there that people are taking, and so just understanding that was a tragic circumstance of this particular
I'm sure
film.
all safety precautions are always there, but it does happen. It's not just an illusion. It's a real life stuff, these movies. So
yes.
But anyway,
so we will try to forgive Mike for his hateration and appreciate
I'm sorry.
the
I don't know what came over me today. I apologize.
Program.
If I offended anybody, I'm sorry. I'm just speaking the truth. I did try and have hair one time. And maybe I just felt a little uncomfortable. I saw all this natural beauty in here.
Yes, and you had some kind of flashback of some circumstance that you probably never should have been in the first place. We do want to let you know, as we conclude today's Real Black Radio, that we want you to join us live next Friday, and there's some very good reasons for that. Imagine Philadelphia without a venue to share your voice. Imagine Philadelphia without audio news and information for and about the African American community. Imagine Philadelphia without Word Radio and our founder, Dr. Walter P. Lomax Jr., prominent physician, entrepreneur, humble philanthropist, devoted family man, and loving husband. Next Friday, August 25th, we will convene to celebrate his life and legacy for our annual Founders Day event at the Central Branch of the Free Library's Skyline Room, 1901 Vine Street. The event will hold up the mission of Dr. Lomax, featuring a day-long live broadcast beginning at 7 a.m. and continuing through 7 p.m. Our doors officially open to the public at 9 a.m. when you can join us from your Mind Your Business with Solomon Jones, our Summer of Freedom finale, a Qigong session and Healers Roundtable, a word show host roundtable discussing the state of Black media in the age of Trump, and a special Generation Speaks discussion. Bring the special young people in your life for a Mommy and Me healthy cupcake baking class, woohoo, and much more. If you are not a Forward member or you need to renew, you can sign up on site and be entered to win an exclusive trip for two to the island of Jamaica, courtesy of our friends at Palace Travel. There will be other great prizes available throughout the day, so come out and celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Lomax and support his mission to sustain a voice in the Black community. I'm Stephanie Renee. I'll be there. Mike Dennis, he'll be there, along with the entire Word family, and we want you to visit wordradio.com for more information. Founders Day is presented by Comcast Internet Essentials and sponsored by Bank of America, Comcast Foundation, and Girl Scouts of Eastern Pennsylvania, Lincoln Financial Foundation, the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office, and Wells Fargo. Lots of good people pouring time, energy, and resources into this collaborative effort where we uplift our founder, Dr. Walter P. Lomax Jr., and bring you into a space where you're learning and hanging with your favorite Word family and all those good things. And Mike will get some act right between now and next Friday.
It sounds like I could go to HR. They're going to call me in this week.
We're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, and come back with Hour 3 as we're broadcasting live from the 2017 Kinks, Locks, and Twist Conference. So long to those of you checking us out on Facebook Live. We'll be back on the airwaves after this.